It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 21st annual induction ceremony to the Haddon Township Athletic Hall of Fame. Before we begin today's ceremony, would you please silence your cell phone or any electronic devices? Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would kindly direct your attention to the entranceway. It is now my privilege to introduce the 21st class of inductees. From the class of 1984, George Wolf, accompanied by Margie Wolf. This year's inductee representing the class of 1986 is Luann Merck. Luann will be represented by her sister, Annika Merck, who is also an inductee this year from the class of 2017. Annika Merck and Nick Glenn. Our selection this year from the class of 2000, Ryan Williams, accompanied by Courtney Williams. This year's inductee from the class of 2008 is Bridget Settles McElwain, accompanied by James McElwain. Our inductee from the class of 2015, Mr. Luke Patella, accompanied by Vanessa Spolin. And our 2024 inductee as coach, Charlie Sendog Senator, accompanied by Nora Senator. And this year's selection for our Hall of Fame team is the 1986-87 Hawks wrestling team. Before we begin this afternoon's program, we'd like to have a brief moment of silence and recall some of our members and our contributing members that we've lost over the past season or two. Mr. Miller Preston, Sharon Crow, from the wrestling team, Mike Egan and Kevin Dugan, and contributors Jerry Bandmiller and Dan Deering. We have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. At this time, would you kindly stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for our national anthem and the invocation. As we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we ask you to please bring to mind our friends and loved ones who may be serving overseas in the armed forces, especially those defending our freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our national anthem will be sung by Kaylin Gaines. Kaylin?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Kaylee Gaines. And now for our invocation, once again we call upon Pastor J.R. Thatcher III.
You could please be seated. When the national anthem is sung great as an athlete, you sort of think like you could play again if there was actually the sport that there'd definitely be a hamstring pulled or two, but I guess you said it was a wonderful job. Every year that I get invited to come here, I think, what is it that gets me excited? What is it that comes to mind? I almost feel like I could call out and some of you would remember, but it's just the celebration of sports in Haddon Township. It's March Madness, and it's Holy Week. I mean, the combination as a pastor for those three things gets me pretty excited. But on a deeper level, by the way, I am a Baptist pastor by trade, but I got another 90 seconds, bear with me. So don't think like, oh my gosh, I'm going to preach here. Yes and no. But the one thing that when I think is, what is the deeper reason? What's the deeper reason that I'd love to come here and get passionate about it? What is it about this event? And I got to tell you, as a workplace chaplain, I do that full time. Life is hard. People are hurting. Addiction sometimes is winning. Can I get at least an amen that life is hard? Amen. See, when you say amen, then I know you get it, so now I can move on. I am desperate to hear stories, to see lives of how people are winning, how community is thriving, how bonds are being passed and fields are being built, and we are in a community that is going to continue to thrive. So that is my prayer today. As I ask you to bow your heads, just want to pray that the Lord is invited into this event. His presence, His mercy and grace are welcome. And we just thank you. We thank you that we get to celebrate the lives of these teams and these athletes and all those who have impacted them, to bring them to a place in life where they can say that my experience has made me the person I am, and I can fight and I can overcome. And for those who are hurting, those who are struggling right now, we just ask for the Lord's mercy and grace, that you could take a deep breath and to realize the Lord is in control. God is winning, and we will celebrate all these families. Thank you, Lord, for this community in which we have the opportunity to thrive. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Thatcher. Randy Teague is the mayor of Haddon Township. We'd like to have him come up at this time and say a few words. Randy? Oh, not Randy. Not Randy.
I'm impersonating Randy today. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Haddon Township governing body, Mayor Teague, Commissioner Linhart, and myself, I would like to welcome you to the 2024 Haddon Township High School Athletic Hall of Fame banquet. In a relatively short period of time, this banquet has become one of Haddon Township's most important community events. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Hall of Fame officers and executive committee for their hard work in organizing this celebration of athletic achievement. To our inductees, congratulations. Today you are joining a select group whose personal or team accomplishments merit special recognition from this community. Haddon Township is proud to call you one of our own. Thank you very much.
All right, let's try. Is Dr. Fisicaro here? Okay, great. At this time, I present Dr. Fisicaro, who is the superintendent of Haddon Township Schools.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's an honor to be here. There are very many exciting things happening in the Haddon Township School District, and I can't wait to honor our special distinguished guest tonight. Congratulations on this special achievement. I have to say that I have the pleasure of helping to lead the Haddon Township School District, and I think that I serve on the best team around. And I play in the game of leadership alongside 3 members of our Board of Education who are here tonight, Mr. John Kendall, Mrs. Marie Desi, and Mr. Dave Ricci, and 2 members of our administrative team, Mr. Tim George, who will speak after me, although I think he deleted himself from the program, and Mr. Gary O'Brien is also here today. So this is certainly a very special group, and it's always important to acknowledge the wonderful and powerful meaning of what a team truly is. I think one of the things that we probably can do better in the Haddon Township School District, at least at the leadership level, is to extend an invitation to our alumni back to visit more often. So if you're an alumni of Haddon Township Schools or a distinguished guest, we're honoring you tonight, please don't let this be a once-in-a-year type of participation. We'd love to see you back. If you're ever interested in coming back and talking to a particular team or a particular athlete, or just simply would like to come visit our school district to say hello and see how we're doing, the invitation is always there, and please reach out to us. Over the last few weeks and few months, it seems like we've been wrestling with the question of what does it mean to be elite? What is that word? And as we're wrestling with this definition, it dawned on me that the definition of elite doesn't matter as much as the complete pursuit of excellence. And that's really what this is all about. And our inductees today have really reached the highest milestone that you could possibly reach coming out of your high school community as the most elite participants, as signified by your induction into this Hall of Fame. So congratulations. But somewhere along this journey, we understand that it's not the achievement of becoming elite that's the most important. It's really about the relationships that you foster along the way and being part of a cause that's bigger than yourself. And then at the real end of the journey, you realize that you're really not the main character in the story. We're going to hear some inspirational speeches here today. The real main characters in this story of excellence and achievement aren't to my left and to my right. The real main characters are in front of me. It's always the parent behind the player, the teacher behind the student, the friend, the mentor, the encourager. So when you listen to these speeches and we acknowledge the achievement of becoming elite for our Hall of Fame inductees, don't only look to the front, look to the left and to the right, because today is a celebration of our community. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure and honor to be part of this. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Dr. Fisicaro. Next, we'll have remarks from the Haddon Township Athletic Hall of Fame Chairperson, Dennis St. John.
Thank you, Russ. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to today's event, for helping to support the Haddon Township Hall of Fame scholarship effort, where most of, not maybe more than most of our money goes towards student scholarships. And I want to thank particularly all the people who took out an ad, and our businessmen who also took out an ad. Thank you very much. It makes our program possible, okay? And if you get a chance, take the program home with you. It's a memento of this event. And I hope all the inductees have seen their bios in the program. One of our team members, one of our committee members, Mr. Paul Stelz, writes those bios. When Paul retires, he's going to write obituaries. He does such a good job. But anyway, at this moment, I would like the Hall of Fame Committee, Executive Committee, to please stand. Come on, guys, come on. Every one of our committee members, and you can see their names listed on the list in the first couple pages, has a particular job to do each year in order to hold this event. We have a lot of expertise in a lot of different areas, and they pull this off every year with class. So that's what we try to make it when we're planning it. We try to make it a classy event, and I hope you all think that. Okay, I would like to just take a second to thank my better half. She's the printer. She does all the printing for this book. It's copied far and wide, so I know it's a souvenir. Please take it with you, save it. 50 years from now, you young guys might want to pull it out and say, hey, I was in the Hall of Fame. And you have proof right there. The other thing I'd like to mention is, if you get a chance, look at our webpage. It's on the high school's website. If you know someone who should be in the Hall of Fame, you can either talk to Eric Landgraf. Eric, you want to stand up for a second there? He's our selection committee chairperson, does a great job. Okay? And we're always looking for athletes. Occasionally, we miss somebody. I know I was on a committee a long time ago at my high school at North Catholic in Philadelphia. And we missed one guy who was an Olympic swimmer, a gold medalist, named Joe Vidor. When he was a junior in high school, he won the Olympics. And we forgot him. You know, but we put in a couple boxers that were in the school. A lot of famous guys went to North Catholic. To the young people that are here, especially the ones sitting at Mrs. Clark's table, and Mrs. Clark, she buys 10 dinners every year for this event for the kids, for the high school athletes. To the young guys, there's a lot of experience in this room. I can't tell you how much all of these people have accomplished. I mean, not only in athletics, but in business, law, teaching. Get to know them, get around, introduce yourself, okay? And let the people know who you are. Because someday, and hopefully it'll be soon, you'll be in this book and you'll be here at this induction. So thank you very much for coming. Again, thank you, committee, for doing a great job, as always. I hope you give them a round of applause, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, David. We'd like to once again recognize some of our dignitaries, although they were mentioned by Dr. Fizzicaro. Would the members of the Board of Education please stand? And like to pay special recognition to Mr. John Kendall, who has been here every year. Okay, at this time, we would invite all the previous Hall of Fame inductees to please stand at your seats and once again receive your well-deserved congratulations. All members, please stand. At this time, would you please raise a glass and join me in a toast. First, I would like to propose a toast to all of the new inductees of the Haddon Township Athletic Hall of Fame. Next, I would like to make a toast to all the family members of the inductees that are here this afternoon. And finally, a salute to all the coaches, athletes, parents, and friends that are associated with the Haddon Township Athletics. Hear, hear. We will begin our introductions or our inductions with a presentation or the induction of the 1986-1987 Hawks wrestling team. In 1986-1987, Coach Miller Preston, who has been inducted into multiple Halls of Fame, including the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, along with Coach Bill Hoover, who is also a multiple Hall of Fame inductee, led their team to the South Jersey Group 2 Championship, winning 29-25. They finished their season with a 19-2 record and were ranked number 6 in South Jersey. Now to introduce the team and tell us about that championship season is Coach Bill Hoover.
I was a lightweight. Small guy. Welcome everyone and congratulations to all the inductees that are up here. I had most of them in phys ed class over here. I see people shaking their head. So this is exciting to see what they have done and that they're able to be honored. It's an honor for me to present this team for induction for Miller Preston. A little bit of history quickly. I wrestled for Miller in the 60s, and I was on his first championship team in 67. Don't start counting those years. You know, after college, came back as an assistant, and I coached with Miller as his assistant during his 100th, 200th, 300th plus wins. Miller was the master of mental preparation, and I always told him, Miller, you don't ever have to worry about me wanting your job, because he could prepare the teams mentally. My job was physical, drilling, wrestling live, 50 years of live wrestling. And like I said, mental osmosis was Miller's specialty. He also brought the cross-face cradle to Haddon Township, which is now across the state. Everybody uses it in some version. You can be losing going into the third period, and that's why we call the cradle the cross-face cradle, or the near-side cradle. What's that? Equalizer. Yeah, the great equalizer. So if you can hang on until the third period and snap the cradle, you were in good shape. All right. Miller had all kinds of different sayings, and one that he used when I wrestled for him, and also used through the years, was he'd say, "Don't be a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Get it done on the mat." All right. So we're going to throw all his Hall of Fame inductions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call a team up here so you can see them. I'm going to call them up by weight class. All right. You guys come up. You need to come up. Across here. And Dave, believe me, if you want to come up and you can start handing. All right. At 98 pounds, Brian. At 98 pounds, Brian Farnham. Brian was a freshman that year. He was second in districts, but then he went on with his career with Haddon Township and was a two-time district, two-time region, placed in the states at third and fifth over his career. At 105, and our lightweights were tough. The whole team was, but we had a tough group of lightweights. Kevin Dugan, he was second in districts that year. Kevin, he's no longer with us, but he is here in spirit with all his field here. All right, his dad's here, and some of the family. Here he comes, okay. Mr. Green. At 112, we have Brett Nasrock. Brett was the district champ that year. At 119, Dave Jablonski. He was second in districts that year. And also at 119, Miller would juggle guys around depending on who we were wrestling, give guys a break and things like that. Jeff Marsden. At 126, captain of the team, Todd Young. Todd was a district champ, region champ, and state champ. All right. Okay, at 132, Pat Egan. Pat was second in district that year, and also Steve Scher wrestled at 132 again as a depending on who he was wrestling. At 138, Jimmy McNamara, he was a district champ that year, but he was unable to make it. He lives and works in Michigan and couldn't make it in. At 145, Jeff Brooks. Jeff was third in districts that year. All right, at 155, Mike Egan, he was third in districts that year. Mike is no longer with us, but again, he's another one. He's here in the spirit and always will be. All right, 188, Bill Getzinger. Bill missed the medal round in districts that year by one match. All right. And in heavyweight, Eddie Preston. Eddie Preston was fourth in district that year. And also, I missed Gary Miller and Brian Make at 167. But Amy Stanton, she wasn't one of the wrestlers, but back in the day, we had full-time student trainers. And Amy was the full-time student trainer for the wrestling team. She was at every practice, every home and away week. And she took care of all the painting, ice, when guys needed ice, and Band-Aids for any of their little boo-boos. Just a couple other things real quick. The team was 19-2. And usually the question is asked, who did you lose to? All right, well, in dual meet season, we lost to Paulsburg, 34-21. They were conference champs, District 27 champs, state Group 1 champs. In the state finals, we lost to Delaware Valley Regional. They had 41-18. They were good. They were #1 ranked in the state. They were conference champs, district champs, and obviously state Group 2 champs. But just to finish up here a little bit, two exciting matches that were close was the South Jersey Group 2 semifinal match where we beat Pennsville 28-27 to move into the finals against Point Pleasant Borough, beating them 29-25. But just to give you an idea how strong this team was, I'll give you some team scores here quickly. Sterling, we beat them 69-0. Cherokee, Group 4 school, we beat them 56-0. Bedford, we beat them 54-6. Collingswood, 45-6. Haddonfield, 63-2. Gateway, 60-2. And Pensgrove that season, 54-6. So, at this time, I'd like to have Dave Preston. Quick words about his dad. He's got the gift of mental osmosis from his dad.
Thanks, Coach Huber. I'll be really brief. I just wanted to say a couple things. First of all, George Wolf, I just want to recognize you. Congratulations on your induction. You were a bit, my dad loved you and was a big fan of yours, so I just wanted to extend that thank you, George. two things about my father. One is so my father passed away on December 30th. I think a lot of folks probably know that. So we've been blessed, myself, my brother Rick, and my brother Mike, and my sister Jennifer, about hearing about the impact that my dad had on Haddon Township and on wrestling and everything, on people and wrestlers. But I'd like to turn that around and talk about, I think, how much and how important Haddon Township and Haddon Township wrestling was to my father. And I think about it that really in two ways. I think that manifested itself in two ways. One in which, and I think it's represented in all the guys up here and all the guys out in the audience who wrestled for my dad and maybe played golf for my dad, is he was all about the athletes. And he was all about, making young men, great young men, thoughtful, honest, strong, mentally strong young men. And that's what gave him happiness. That's what gave him joy. That's what's made him do that for 37 years? He was the coach, and so he got that out of it. I think the other thing that Dad got out of being the wrestling coach at Haddon Township and being a teacher at Haddon Township and being the golf coach at Haddon Township was really the establishment of Haddon Township, as an academic and an athletic program. And a lot of that, the legacy of that you see here, and not just the wrestling, but also in all the other sports. So on behalf of my father, just want to thank you, thank everyone, thank the Hall of Fame for inducting this team and my father and the recognition there. And just thank you also just if we haven't had a chance for all the kind thoughts that people have shared with our family since the passing of my father a couple months ago. Thank you very much.
David Lee is our second assistant coach. He just wants to say a few words.
Thank you, members of the Academy. Thank you. I graduated from Audubon High School and I went to York College. And when I came back, I graduated, I was looking to coach, and I landed at Haddon Township. My high school coach was a name you might recognize, Jack Kidder, also a National Hall of Fame. And the Kidder family is kind of a Mount Rushmore type of family. So, not realizing that Miller Preston, who was what he was, and Bill Hoover and Alvin Parr stirring the drink, I walked into a situation with a group of guys that really wanted to have fun and work hard. My first year that I was there was 83-84. I coached Dennis Warner, Tom Abate, Brian Klaus, amongst others. I left for a year to go back to Audubon for my brother who was a senior. Then I came back and I coached the championship team and we had a state champ. You might have heard of him, Todd Young. And he won 2 state champs. The other one was Kevin Farnham, was in the room as well. This group of young men, it's a pleasure to see them after 40 years. I'm still friends with a lot of them, on and off the mat, and it's the best part is seeing what they've become, what they've learned, because Miller had 2 classrooms, one in the school and one on the mat before practice. Little did I know that he was really teaching life lessons. We all complained a little bit about he talked too much before practice, but we all remember it now. And look at what you've become, and look at where you are now. What a great tribute to the man, Miller Preston, and the rest of this team that's now Hall of Fame inductees. That's it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I was here 10 years ago without glasses. So, I'm glad these guys covered a lot of stuff about the team and the guys on the mat and the records and everything else. I kind of duplicated that, but I just want to send a message here that sticks with all of us, and it's probably with every wrestler that has ever stepped on the mat. Wrestling is a demanding sport, requires athletes to be in top physical condition, possess the right mindset, and maintain their appropriate weight. It's a sport that not only challenges the body, but also the mind and the soul. It makes you ask yourself if you're capable of competing alone on a mat in front of hundreds or thousands of people watching you. Coach Preston exemplified the art of mental coaching, transforming average wrestlers into good wrestlers and good wrestlers into great wrestlers, without you even realizing what was happening. His philosophy was straightforward: keep it simple, execute well, and have self-belief. His influence has touched so many lives, leaving a legacy that we cherish with gratitude and appreciation that we all feel every day. He's truly missed. And now just a couple things about our team. Farty was our little spark plug at 101. I went up 3 pounds because I never won 98. So Brian probably weighed all 94 pounds his freshman year and got really good starts. 108 was held down by Kevin Dugan, who ended up taking second in the districts. And if Kevin cut his cigarette intake down just a little bit, he would have been fantastic. At 115 with the lanky, funky Brett Nazarok. He's still funky, but he's no longer lanky. At 122 was a platoon between Jeff Marsden and Dave Jablonski. Those guys did a great job for us. I was the 190 pounder, like they said. And then I'm going to combine our 135 pounder and our 158 pounder, our 2 transfers from Haddonfield, who really put the team over the top. We would not have been the team we weren't without them. Where did you guys live? Above a store somewhere? The address is like 116 and 1/4, Hadden commercial zone. We don't ask questions. We were just so glad we got it. Cat and I wrestled our junior year in the district finals, and it wasn't fun. It was so great to have him on our team. If you didn't know Mike, Mike was statuesque, 158 pounds, shoulders like this, and a 28-inch waist. He's a big dude, really good wrestler. He's sorely missed. I'm going to go back to Jimmy McNamara. Jimmy McNamara was my consistent workout partner for 4 years. I think I broke his nose at least 4 times. But he couldn't make this trip this weekend. He's a professor at Michigan State, and he was also a valedictorian. Really good guy. When they called Dahmer, I thought, I was like, wow, okay, it wasn't Jimmy. But anyway. So 149 was probably the toughest guy on the team, Jeff Brooks. Just asked the tennis player behind Paulsboro High School. I don't know who started the fight, but I saw how it ended. Brooksy beat up a tennis player for looking at him wrong. And the fight was broken up by Bob Fredericks, and he looked at me and said, I'm so disappointed in you. He was their AD and wrestling coach for 40 plus years. At 170, we had our platoon of Minker and Gary Miller. Brian tells me that Miller actually pulled him aside one day and said, you're the bestest I've ever seen. Brian weighed like 160 pounds, wrestling 170, did a great job. And Gary's mustache was fuller then at 17 than it is right now. 118 is held down by our Ace Hardware Speaker of the Year, Bill Getzer. If you ever need anything, just walk in the store, don't look for it, just ask, and enjoy 15 to 20 minutes of Bill. It's a blast. And then our little heavyweight Eddie Preston, who was asked to do a lot of big things in big matches. Standing 5'8", 190 on a good day. We either needed him to keep the score close or go out and get us some points, and he always delivered. This team was tough, was smart, was headstrong. Miller got us to believe and trust the process without even us knowing, again, how he got through to the people. He was wonderful at it. I'm proud to call you guys my teammates, but I'm even more honored to call you my brothers. It's a bond that lasts a lifetime. Good job, guys.
So half of you probably can't see me because I've got the big boys in front of me. But Ryan Farm here, I'm going to land the plane. In retrospect, 1987 was the takeoff point for a decade of excellence for the horse wrestling program. In the next 10 years, we won 5 district championships, we had 35 individual district champions, 10 regional champions, and 8 athletes went on to earn medals at the Meet of Champions in Atlantic City. 3 athletes went on to become Division I wrestling teammates, and captains. Certainly a heyday for our program. It's important also to recognize our parents and for their loving support. None of this happens without family. To them, and those already in heaven, we smile and say thank you. It was a great experience wrestling for the Hawks and Miller Preston in the 1980s. We are lucky to have been part of a great program at the right time, and all of us are grateful for that. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful night.
We have one more presentation to make, and that is to Coach Bill Hoover. Okay, gentlemen, you may be seated at this time. I'd like to mention the awards that they're getting. The wrestling team each get a paperweight and a lifetime entrance to any Haddon Township athletic event. The individuals will also get a plaque with their name on it and a pass to any Haddon Township athletic event. Unfortunately, the passes all say Hawks wrestling team on it, so if you are not a wrestler, it still counts. But it's just a little mistake, no big deal. Okay, at this time we're going to take a little break for dinner. So our maitre d' Pat, wherever she is, or someone will direct your table to the food table. Head table goes first, and then you will be directed to get your dinner. Okay, see you after dinner. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be Haddon Township Athletic Director. But I do have priorities in my life, and one of them is food, so please do not stop eating. The buffet is still open, the salad bar is still open, they're coming around with dessert. Do not stop eating for me. But I'm extremely fortunate to be at Haddon Township as the Athletic Director. I get to interact with the student athletes and the coaches of the present who may be Hall of Fame candidates of the future. I'm also blessed, I'm blessed to work with the student athletes, but also the coaches. The number one common thread amongst our coaching staff is that their unwavering support for our student athletes and their determination to help them make memories for a lifetime. To name a few of these coaches that are in the room today: Jim Younglove, Julie Sullivan, Paul Stelz, Mike Thompson, Dave Donahue, Bill Hoover, Tom Mulligan, Gary O'Brien, Zach Dayton, and Brian Farnham. If you are a coach or have been a coach at Haddon Township High School or HTAA, at this time, please stand. At this time, I'd also like to note some specific retirements. Our school nurse retired, and she was an enormous friend to athletics. Kathy McCutcheon has retired. Several coaches have retired. Coach Jim Bonder has retired from soccer. Coach Tom Mulligan has retired from girls basketball. He has not retired from being the bus driver, girls tennis, boys tennis, science teacher, or anything else he does around the district. Paul Stelz has stepped down as a coach and is just teaching now and mentoring on the side. And longtime assistant coaches, Rob Cortese, Carla Di Benedetto, and Sean Agnew, who is with us tonight, have stepped out of the coaching rings. A round of applause for our retired coaches. I know it was mentioned earlier, but I have to recognize Mr. Gary O'Brien, our principal, who's sitting at the table to my right. Dr. Visacaro, our superintendent. You know, the two of these gentlemen, they support me in athletic decisions, and they support our student athletes, and they support the Hall of Fame. Therefore, putting all of our student athletes in a position to be successful. A round of applause for our principal and our superintendent. So I'd like to begin with a story. We're going to recognize our scholarship athletes, but I'd like to begin with a story. Imagine a young athlete, fresh-faced, full of dreams, stepping onto the field for the first time. Let's call her Alex. Alex's journey through high school sports is akin to a parable I once heard. Once upon a time, there was a young farmer who dreamed of reaping a bountiful harvest. He toiled tirelessly, sowing seeds with care, nurturing them through the seasons. Yet despite his efforts, the field seemed barren, and the harvest wasn't coming through. Disheartened and undeterred, the farmer sought advice from an elder in the village. The elder listened intently to the farmer's plight, and then offered a simple yet profound insight. Patience, young one. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a fruitful harvest. With renewed determination, the farmer continued his labor day in and day out, trusting the process, the same process that the 86-87 wrestling team talked about. The seasons passed, and gradually the seeds had begun to sprout. Their tender shoots pushing up through the soil, reaching towards the sun. Years later, the farmer stood amidst the fields teeming with golden wheat. The fruits of his perseverance stretched out before him in a vast expanse of abundance. Similarly, our high school athletes have the same journey of patience, perseverance, and unwavering dedication. Like the farmer, our young athletes, like Alex, embark on this journey with dreams of glory and triumph, that they face challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt along the way. But it is through these trials that their character is forged, their resilience tested, and their true potential realized. Each practice, each game, each victory, each defeat is a seed that they plant in the fertile soil of their determination, nourished by their passion and their commitment. As they navigate the ups and downs of athletic endeavors, they learn invaluable lessons about teamwork, discipline, and the power of never giving up. They discover success is not merely in the wins and the losses, but in the growth they experience, the friendships that they cultivate, and the memories they cherish. So let's begin to celebrate the journey of these high school athletes. Would our junior table of athletes please stand and be recognized at this time? Would all of our senior award winners please stand and be recognized at this time? We applaud your courage, your dedication, and your indomitable spirit. For in your pursuit of excellence, you inspire us to reach for the stars, to persevere in the face of adversity, and to believe in the power of our dreams. A round of applause for all of the parents of those athletes. I skipped one thing in my notes that I want to address. We do have a retirement on the committee. The Haddon Township Hall of Fame Committee would like to extend a heartfelt retirement to Joan Frankenfield. Joan, I watch out for table 5. Joan has been the rock behind the scenes at all of these athletic Hall of Fame banquets. She has done the books for years, and several people have stepped up to fill her role, and it has not been easy. Joan, you will be missed, and we appreciate you. You are such a big part of the fabric that makes Haddon Township great. Thank you, Joan. All right, our first 2 student athletes were chosen to receive the Bart Payne Hall of Fame Award. Those of us who knew Bart, and that probably includes most of the room and definitely the wrestlers, know what a great honor that this is. The Bart Payne Memorial Scholarship, the female recipient, would Lexi Ricci please come to the podium? So Lexi is a field hockey and lacrosse varsity athlete for us. She's first team all-conference for field hockey, 2 times first team all-conference. You'll be joined by other athletes real soon. So for the other athletes coming up, you'll come up, you'll park here for a minute, I'll say some great things about you, and then you'll slide down because we're going to take a picture with Mr. Dennis St. John. So she was 2-time first team all-conference in lacrosse. She was an all-South Jersey honorable mention. And also, she's 2nd team all-South Jersey her junior year. She's been the captain of the field hockey team. She probably expects to be the captain of the lacrosse team. She's the MVP for field hockey this past season and the defensive co-MVP last season. As most of these athletes, she's also in the HT Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, Lexi Ricci. Next up, Ian Hewitt is going to be the male recipient of the Bart Payne. Ian has done, he's excelled in soccer, indoor track, spring track and field, and now he has jumped ship. We'll see if he gets Paul Stouts without getting slapped, but he moved over to the tennis team. It was not well received, but we love this kid so much. We would support him in anything he told us he was going to put his heart into, and that's what he does. He's a member of the Penn Relays 4x400 team that did very well last year. Spring track captain, winter track captain. He was a member of the 2022 Group 1 state champion soccer team, and he played a pivotal role in that. He played a pivotal role this fall in the soccer team's big overtime victory against Audubon at the Audubon football field, and we love that. I love those applause over there. And he also is a member of the HT Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Hewitt. This next talk is a great story because she was on the athletic field and she was next to the wrestling mat, but she never participated. So she's a young lady that found her passion and she wants to be an athletic trainer. Ella Band, would you please come up to the podium? Ella has connected with our past 2 athletic trainers to successfully be a student athletic trainer for us. She has gone as far as to attend the Rowan College Athletic Trainers Workshop last spring. She's passionate. She found what she wants to do in life, and she's pushing forward. She has been a tremendous asset. She's been the 2-year varsity manager, 2-year wrestling manager, student athletic trainer. She attended the sportsmanship breakfast because she's just as sweet as the day is long, and she's a member of the Student Athletic Trainers Society in New Jersey. This is Ella Band, this year's recipient of the Bart Payne Community Service Award. Ladies and gentlemen, Ella Band. I hope Nick's still awake in the back. I'm not sure. Last time I saw him, he was at the buffet line. We're going to bring up the Nick Mink Cross Country Mortgage Scholarship, and it's going to be Chris Broderick, a fan favorite around the school. Chris Broderick is a throwback to the late 80s. And I know Brian Farnham, his wrestling coach, would agree. Chris is a football player, wrestler, attacking the buffet. You know, he's got a wicked, what was that move? I think he was an arm drag into a lateral drop. It was sick. After he did that, I never messed with him again. He's a two-sport varsity athlete in football and wrestling. He's a two-sport varsity captain also. The other individuals on his team truly look to him for leadership in difficult moments. He's an all-conference wrestler. He took second in districts in 2024. He's also a Greco-Roman state champ, and he's a leader of our school's Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nick Mink Cross Country Mortgage Scholarship, Chris Bryders. Now, there's only one man allowed to walk in this room, this professional atmosphere, classy meal, dinner served, beautiful flatware, wearing a baseball cap. And that's Bill Schmidt in the back of the room. I know many of us from the early 90s remember him as the McDonald's bouncer. But he's not just a McDonald's bouncer. He's a student liaison at the school, and he does a great job. And he has a scholarship in his name, and the recipient for the female athlete is Maddie Moronsky. Maddie is also a field hockey and lacrosse player. She's first team all-conference for field hockey. She's 2 times the offensive MVP for field hockey. She's been a captain of the field hockey team. She's second team all-conference for lacrosse last year. She expects big things on the lacrosse field this year. 4-year varsity player in field hockey and lacrosse. 3-sport varsity letter winner her freshman, sophomore, and junior year. Also a member of the HT Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, Maddie Moronsky. And the Bill Schmidt male recipient is Mr. Nick Cosenza. Nick's a member of our boys tennis and winter track teams. Our tennis team, he was part of the state championship run last year in tennis. Nick, hang right here, I'm gonna say some great things about you. There's a great story behind it. Nick, you know, last spring when everybody in the room was paying attention to Canadian wildfires, and Nick was on a bus driving to Mercer County tennis courts saying, I'm going to win a state championship. I don't care how that smoke is. And Nick, did it look like the apocalypse? The sky was orange, smoke was coming across the stands. The NJSIAA executive committee was basically like going like this because they just wanted to get the event in. And him and his teammates pulled off. They lost in the semifinals the year before, and then they went back the next year and they won a state title. Even more important, Nick Cosenza does a lot of community service. He makes sandwiches for the homeless in Camden. He's volunteered at the Ronald McDonald House and making and serving food for people in need. His academic accomplishments are through the roof, and he's a member of the HT Honor Society. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Cosenza. The last award is our Tom Curley Outstanding Contribution Award. And I'd be lying if it wasn't an outstanding achievement, because these 2 athletes are outstanding individuals on and off of their athletic endeavors. But let's bring up first Olivia Welch. You are so much more successful if you have a competition against Olivia that is on land. Because if you put her in water, she's going to smoke you. She's part of a girls' swim team that has been pushing hard in the playoffs and advancing 2 to 3 rounds every year. She's a 4-time MVP for the girls' high school swim team, and her coach is no joke. Marty McDermott is not giving an MVP award to somebody who doesn't deserve it. This girl deserves it. second team all-conference for the 200 IM. She's a first team all-conference for the 100 breaststroke. She's captain of the team her senior year, and she's a member of the HT Honor Society. Olivia Welsh. I missed two things about Olivia. She volunteers with the Special Olympics at the South Jersey Aquatic Center, and she's part of the Hope Club at the high school, and she's just a fantastic kid from a wonderful family. Next up, I think he beat me at the buffet today, Danny Knorr. So if you drive down MacArthur Boulevard and you see the oversized pickup truck with the giant American flag out the back, you'll know that that's Danny Knorr, and the moose stuffed animal secured to the front. That's Danny Knorr. Once again, 1987 throwback. You would have loved to have him. He probably could have been a 180, 88, but I don't think he could beat Gessinger. Danny he competed in football, indoor track, spring track and field. He won the unsung hero for the football team his junior year. He's first team all-division lineman, Haddon Township football for MVP for 2023. His academic achievement is, he's an AB student throughout. He earned a merit scholarship to Farley Dickinson University, Florham Park campus, and he's excited about the next step of his life, and we know him and all of his classmates are going to be very successful because of what they've learned in athletics. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny Knorr. Today we compliment our achievements, past and present, and offer you our most sincere wishes for a great afternoon full of warm, wonderful memories and a tremendous future. Thank you so much for supporting our scholarship recipients. Have a wonderful rest of the banquet.
Okay, at this time we're going to begin our presentation of our inductees, and we're going to begin back in 1984 with the induction of George Wolf. George was known as one of the toughest lightweight wrestlers of his era in South Jersey. Graduating in 1984, he won 4 varsity letters, weighing in at both 101 and 122. His dual meet record was 35, 17, and 2. His career record was 57, 20, and 2. George won the Holiday Tournament 3 times. He was a 2-time District 28 champion and a 2-time Region 7 champion. George's success in wrestling continued at Trenton State College, where he was a member of the Division III National Championship team. In addition to his performance on the mat, George was a 4-year member of the school's physical fitness team. In 1984, he participated in the Tri-State Physical Fitness Championship, scoring 2nd place overall with 488 out of 500 possible points, and led his team to a 2nd place finish. George also lettered twice in gymnastics and was a member of the school's 1980 Group 2 State Championship team. George earned a BS in biology and has worked as an environmental health specialist for the CCMUA. He continues to give back to Haddon Township community, assisting with HTHS football, wrestling, and baseball programs. Additionally, he has helped with the middle school wrestling and the Grapevine Wrestling League. Ladies and gentlemen, George Wolf.
Thank you, everyone. I am grateful and humbled to be standing here today. I'd like to thank And a special thank you to Judy Roman for being a fantastic mentor in our rookie campaign. Her help in this process is very much appreciated. Thank you, Judy. Congratulations to all my fellow inductees. This is a big day for all of us, and something we should all be proud of. I certainly am. When Judy first contacted me about being inducted, I asked her to explain how the committee decides who gets in. And when she outlined the process, something she mentioned really stood out to me. She said one of the things they look at is to see if the candidates have ever given back in any way to the township's athletic programs. I hadn't considered this, but as I thought about it, I realized that, at least in my opinion, that this was by far the most important aspect of my involvement. Yes, I achieved some fairly impressive things on the wrestling mat and won some individual titles, but those aren't the things I look back on now as being important. Of course, I'm proud of my accomplishments, but they are individual to me and of no benefit to anybody else. What I am most proud to say I was a part of is the success that my two sons, Tim and Chris, and my four nephews, Brian and Steve Nelson, and Jason and Mikey Martinak, have had on the wrestling mat. And that two of them, Brian and Chris, are still involved in the varsity program today as coaches. Those 6 young men alone hold 10 district titles, 4 regional titles, and 3 state place medals, including a runner-up. Combined, they have well over 600 varsity wins. That's 6 kids. Steve Nelson set the school record for the all-time wins in his senior year with 136. His record was short-lived, however, being surpassed by his younger cousin, Chris Wolf, who currently holds that record at 138. Those are some very impressive stats for one family generation. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the years that are most important to me. My brother-in-law, Dave Nelson, also a Haddon Township Hall of Famer, started this family legacy by entering his sons into the sport. Soon after, my other brother-in-law, Mike Martinak, and I entered our sons. Those boys were all 5 or 6 when they started. The day I took my older son, Tim, to sign up for the youth wrestling program was the day my coaching career began. I hadn't been back to the school since my high school days. The first person I saw when I walked into the cafeteria was Bill Hoover. You want to talk about someone who's giving back? He's the man, and he's still giving back. After we got Tim's paperwork done, he said to me, "You know you're a coach now, don't you? It's about time you got here." That's how my coaching career started. Over the years, as my sons grew up playing football, baseball, and wrestling, I came along with them, volunteering to coach on many of their different teams. In all, I coached for more than 10 years on the different football and baseball teams, and all those years with the youth wrestling program, where I was fortunate to coach both my sons, my 4 nephews, along with hundreds of others of young wrestlers. There are quite a few people who are responsible for me being up here today, both from my time in high school and my time as a father and coach. From my days in competition, I want to thank all my former teammates for being in the trenches with me, always providing inspiration to succeed and to make weight. There was always a little extra incentive by the older teammates and captains to get that done. Most importantly, for my high school days, I need to thank my coaches, without whom I wouldn't have had any success at all. The first man who made a difference in my life as a coach was Mr. William Rosberg. He was my 7th and 8th grade coach, who, as a kid in 7th grade, I thought was just a crazy old man in baggy sweatpants. But as it turns out, he was a lot more than that. He saw something in me I didn't know I had. He told me once that I had the potential to be a great wrestler. He said I had talent that you can't teach. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but for some reason I believed him, and I decided to stick with it. Thank you for that, Mr. Rosberg. May you rest in peace. I'd like to thank all of the former wrestlers who would come back and work out with us in the practice room. I thank them all for giving back in that way. The next people that I need to thank are the assistant coaches from our time, Bill Hoover and Alan Carr. These guys set the bar for us physically and pushed us harder than we wanted to be, but more importantly, they pushed us farther than we thought possible. Sprinting through the hallways and up and down the stairs in the school, circuit training, rope climbing, man lifting, carry, and on and on. To this day, it is ingrained in my very being that there is no excuse for losing a match because your opponent is in better shape than you are. I can't tell you exactly how many matches we won because of superior strength and conditioning, but it was a large percentage. Hoove and Alan, I thank you both for everything you did for us back then, on and off the mats. This brings me to a man who was much more to me than just a coach. Miller Preston was a coach, a teacher, a mentor, and a father figure. Not many people know this little obscure fact about me, but when I was in elementary school, I lived at 406 Crestwood Avenue for 4 years. The Prestons lived at 404, directly next door. Now, I was just a little kid, and I don't remember much about him from that time, but I know he remembered me, as he mentioned it a few times in high school. He knew of my situation as an only child with divorced parents, and I believe he took it upon himself to take special interest in me. In high school, he always had my back and did whatever he could to keep me out of trouble. Coach Preston was a great man who had a positive effect on so many lives. I am one of the fortunate who had the privilege to know him, to be taught by him, and to wrestle under him. He is greatly missed and will never be forgotten. Thank you, Coach, for being a constant positive force in my young life. And last from my high school days, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my time as a gymnast and the impact that Coach Pete Williams had on me. He was one of the toughest guys I ever met, and his take-no-crap attitude was exactly what I needed at the time. I will never forget, during my first year on the team, while practicing on the high bar one day, I tore a $half size patch of skin loose on the middle of my palm. I was sure my short career as a gymnast was over right then. Coach Williams came over and he said, "Give me your hand." I was terrified. He grabbed my wrist with one hand and the flap of bloody skin hanging off my palm in the other hand, and he ripped it clean off. I thought I was going to pass out. He looked at me and he said, and this is no exaggeration, he said, "Pain is only a sensation. It comes and goes. Now go wrap some tape around that. You'll be fine. Go practice on your floor exercise today." That was one of those life lessons that stick with us forever. And I thank you, Coach Williams, for that. I wish my mother and my grandmother could be here today. They passed away many years ago now, but I know they're both smiling from above. They were always my #1 fans. My mother was the epitome of unconditional love, and I miss her very much, I do. I'd like to thank my friends for coming out today on my behalf. I choose my friends carefully, and I like to think I've done a good job of it. The list is pretty short, but the quality is excellent. Thank you for being here today. It means a lot to me that you guys came out. Thanks, guys. I didn't realize it at the time when I got married, but the family that I married into is a very special one with a set of family values that should be envied and emulated by all others. My father-in-law, Al Frank, who is here today, and his wife, Marge, God rest her soul, we all miss her dearly. They raised 4 beautiful daughters, beautiful and exceptional daughters in Haddon Township: Marie, Kathy, Margie, and Ellen. They have all made Haddon Township their home and all have children who were born and raised in this town, 11 kids in total. Every one of them, parents and kids alike, are graduates of Haddon Township. Along with my sisters-in-law are their husbands, 3 good men who I'm privileged to call family: Dave Nelson, Mike Martinak, and Bill Donaldson. Bill Donaldson's daughter Jessica is also a Hall of Famer. Incredibly, and this is incredible. Incredibly, most of these people came here today on my behalf. There are even some of the kids' significant others here today. That shows you the kind of family values I'm talking about. Thank you all for accepting me into the family and for being there when I needed you. I'm forever grateful. Thank you to my sons, Tim and Chris. You guys are responsible for making me responsible. You didn't even realize you were doing it. Mommy and I are so proud of you too. You're both fine young men with good heads on your shoulders. We're both looking forward to seeing what your futures bring. And by that I mean grandkids. A couple each will do just fine. Finally, although I am not what you would consider a very religious person, I do believe in angels. I believe because I have proof they exist. As a matter of fact, there's one sitting right there. Her name is Margie, and I'm the luckiest man on earth that she was brought into my life. I believe she is a guardian angel who was put here to save me, and she has, literally. Without this beautiful woman by my side, I would have died 8 years ago. Because I wasn't strong enough to overcome my addiction to alcohol on my own. Few people are, but I'm one of the lucky ones. Words can't really put into context how grateful I am for my wife and the 32 years of marriage we have had together so far. She saved me from me, and I owe her everything. How do you properly thank someone for saving your life? I'm not sure it's possible, short of returning the favor, but I plan to die trying. I love you, sweetie. I apologize for being a little long-winded, but I'm old now, and I have a lot to be thankful for. I'll probably never get another opportunity like this to express my gratitude for the people in my life. Thank you, everyone. That's all I got.
Now we have a few people left to induct, and they will make their acceptance speeches, but I'd like to let you know that it is now about 5:13, and Gail requested that we be done by 5:15 because JMU is playing. So if you could be brief, that would be great. We've got about 8 seconds each, so. Now take your time, Mr. Biggs. Okay, our next inductee, I should say inductees, we have a very unique situation. We have sisters being inducted. Our first is from the class of 1986, Luann Merck. We are very proud to induct into the Athletic Hall of Fame a true athletic prodigy. Luann Merck was a truly, truly gifted runner whose career and sadly her life was cut short by diabetes. In cross country, Luann emerged as one of the state's premier freshman runners, winning the winning the Group 2 sectional meet with a then record time of 17:57. She also won the Colonial Conference Championship. At the state Group 2 meet, she suffered a broken bone in her foot early in the race, and despite the pain, she still finished fifth. For her outstanding effort, she was named Team MVP, First Team All-South Jersey. In the fall of 1983, while courageously fighting the effect of her illness, she led her team to the South Jersey Group 2 title. During the spring track season of '83, she was undefeated in dual meets at every distance she ran. And she finished second at in the 1600 at the Camden County meet. Although Luann struggled through her later years of high school fighting her disease, She still earns 8 varsity letters in cross country and track. Luann also participated in the United States Marine Corps Youth Physical Fitness Competition. Luann placed first of all contestants, and she was the first ever to score a perfect 500 points. We remember Luann as an athlete who excelled to heights that few could ever achieve. She reached those heights very early in her career, and although her battle with diabetes may have slowed her running career, her courage will forever remain with what is most memorable, Luann Merck. Now, accepting the award for Luann is her sister, Annika Merck, class of 2017. Annika was herself also an outstanding runner for the Lady Hawks cross country, indoor track, and spring track teams. She set 2 school records both in 2016 in the 1600, running a 5:07, and setting the mark of 11:27 in the 3200. In the fall of her senior year, Annika ran the fastest time in school history at Homedale Park, 20.08, and won the New Jersey Group 1 championship. Annika anchored both the record-setting 4x8 and distance medley teams. Her contribution in the 4x8, the 800, the 1600, and the 3200, in which she got first place in every event, and earned 40 points. She led her team to the Group 1 sectional title in 2016. Coming from a family of runners, Annika knew the demands that the sport would put on her. She developed quickly throughout her freshman year, and as a sophomore, won the South Jersey Group 1 sectionals. During the season, she finished 3rd in both the 800 and the 1600. That spring, she won the 800, the 1600, and the 3200 at sectionals. That same triple, 8, 16, 32, she repeated in her junior year. As a senior, she won the state championship at Homedale, finishing 2nd in the indoor 1600. She finished 3rd at the state indoor meet. Suffering an injury during spring track, she did return to finish 2nd at both the Haddonfield Invitational and the Group 1 1600. Annika was a tremendous talent who always ran with spirit and determination. Ladies and gentlemen, Annika Merck.
Hi everyone. It's going to be a little shorter this one. Thank you very much. It's such an honor. It makes it more of an honor to be inducted with my sister. I'm sure she's watching. Luann was an inspiration for me, even though she passed away when I was young. I loved her very much. Next, thank you to my coaches for all the training, support, and fun. Coach Senator, Mrs. Arena, middle school track, Mr. Bonder, Ms. Smith, Mr. Stelz, Donnie Hill, Dave Welsh, and especially Mr. Younglove, for putting up with us and making us look forward to every practice. If I missed anyone, sorry. Thank you to Alicia for dragging me out of bed to run on Sunday mornings. And all of my best friends, Nora, Kristen, Ellie, for all the laughs. My mom for the love and support, for putting up with me. And then lastly, thank you to my dad. As much as he pissed us off, we where we are. Thank you very much.
From the class of 2000, we present to you Mr. Ryan Williams. Ryan was an outstanding athlete in both soccer and tennis. On the pitch, he was a varsity goalkeeper from his freshman through his senior years. He posted 19 career shutouts, 10 of them coming in his senior year. With Ryan in goal, the Hawks qualified for the South Jersey playoffs in 1998 and 99 and took them to the South Jersey Group 2 semifinals. For his efforts, he was named South Jersey Defensive Player of the Year. In tennis, Ryan was the captain of the team, playing first doubles with a record of 22-3. He led his team to the South Jersey Group 2 runner-up finish. Along with his many honors are 7 varsity letters in 2 different sports, 2 All-Conference Awards, 4 All-South Jersey Group 2 teams, first team All-South Jersey, and the South Jersey Coaches Association Defensive Player of the Year, second team All-State. Ryan received a Division I scholarship to UMBC, then transferred to Stockton, where he recorded 4 shutouts and won the Division III National Championship. He was named to that college's Hall of Fame in 2011. Ryan continues his passion for soccer by working with the Medford Strikers, the New Jersey Olympic Development Program, and I hate to say this, but with the Haddonfield Girls Soccer Program. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Williams.
You guys ready back there? All right, keep this short. I would like to start by extending my heartfelt thanks to the Haddon Township Athletic Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible honor. I would also like to thank 2017 inductee and great friend Brett Young for his nomination. First and foremost, I want to express my deepest gratitude to my parents, Bob and Peg Williams. This achievement was not mine, not just mine. I'm not going to cry, so I'm going to It's a reflection of their lifelong and unwavering support. They didn't push any singular sport, but instead instilled in my siblings and me the strong skills of character that would allow us to succeed in any area. I express gratitude for instilling the fusion of family and sport values in all 3 of us. My sister Melissa, whose state championship soccer team was inducted in 2011, and my brother Stephen, who will be here soon. All right. I would like to acknowledge my Haddon Township coaches Mike Green, Frank Ottinger, and the late Lori Foss, who served as more than mentors in the field for their athletes. They became models of character and instrumental figures in shaping not just their athletic abilities, but also their personal growth and resilience. I want to thank all my family and friends that have joined me here today, especially my wife Courtney, and Finn, Tegan, and Caden, to support my receipt of this prestigious honor. I also want to thank all of my teammates over the years for the hard work and dedication to the sport we love. In closing, I can't help but reflect on the continuation of this legacy of sports and family intertwined. Now watching my 3 young children discover their own love for sports, I now know the sacrifices my parents and coaches made along the way. Thank you all for being part of this remarkable journey.
From the class of 2008, please welcome Bridget Settles McElwain. As a 2008 graduate, Bridget was an outstanding contributor to the Haddon Township softball and field hockey teams. Bridget scored 77 goals. I'll say that again, 77 goals in field hockey, 29 of them coming her senior year. In both her sophomore and junior years, she was selected as the offensive MVP. First team All-Colonial Conference, first team All-Group 2. In her senior year, she was named team captain, team MVP, first team All-Colonial Conference, first team All-Group 2, and first team All-South Jersey. Bridget showed the same dependability in softball, playing on the varsity team beginning with her freshman year. As a second baseman, she was part of the 2006 South Jersey Group 2 championship team. As a junior and a senior, she moved to shortstop, serving for 2 years as team captain. Bridget attended Division I Temple, where she played 17 games as a freshman. By her senior year, she had amassed numerous awards and accomplishments, including First Team Atlantic 10, Offensive MVP, Third Team All-American, Atlantic 10 All Offensive Player of the Year, 24th in the nation, scoring 2 goals per game, and scored 45 goals for the Owls, the 6th highest in team history. Ladies and gentlemen, Bridget Settles McElwain.
Hello, everyone. First, thank you to the committee for inducting me and acknowledging my athletic achievements. I don't speak about my sports career very often anymore. You either move into different phases of your life and have less and less interaction with the people who knew you then. And, you know, either the college friends, the high school friends stick, but you don't really talk about it as much anymore. But for those of you who did know me and remember those times fondly, you could probably agree I was a bit of an angsty teenager. Athletics were my purpose, and I took every loss, missed pass, or strikeout very difficult. So, thank you to all the coaches for seeing through my bad attitude to understand it was just a passion for success and an all-consuming competitiveness that drove me. Being more introverted through my adolescence, my drive would be non-existent without a load of key pushes. As an incoming 7th grader, because we didn't have middle school, then it was just 7th grade entering high school, I was a babysitting burden to my older sister, so I had to show up to participate in the varsity's the field hockey preseason, which was extremely intimidating. So of course I faked an ankle injury so I could sit on the sidelines, but day after day I was dragged there and eventually encouraged to play and participate in freshman softball. As was already mentioned, I was pulled up to varsity. I was silently cursing Ott and Kaz for putting me there, but it led to me being on a spot of the championship team. Senior year decisions, a phase that sticks in my mind from Coach Funky, if you knew her, why she coached. She said something to me that stuck and kind of made my decision to land me at Temple was, do you want to be a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond? And being from a small, tight-knit community, it was kind of nerve-wracking and scary to try to be pushed into that challenge of a huge school in a big city. And basically, was I ready to be presented with that challenge of Division I? And that's what I got, was a challenge. Being in Division I, a student athlete, it was challenging every day. But everyone had prepared me in small ways to face those adversities. Thank you to my parents for understanding the worth of athletics. Thank you to my cousin for being a competitive counterpart. And thank you to all the friends I made who will forever be the best part of any of those team experiences. And thank you again for this honor.
Our next inductee is from the class of 2015, Mr. Luke Patella. As was mentioned earlier, and I mentioned before, Mr. Stelz writes the biographies. And as I was preparing my notes for Luke, I was just overwhelmed. I coached track for a long time at Haddon Township, and I've been officiating for a long time, so I've got to see Luke run, but I was not aware of just how darn good he was. He's unbelievable. So here's Luke's accomplishments, and they are remarkable, and I hope I didn't omit anything. First place, Group 1, cross-country sectionals. Third place, state, Group 1. First place, state meet of champions in the 16 with a time of 4:14:39. First place at the state meet of champions in the 3200. First place in the indoor meet of champions in the 1600. South Jersey Runner of the Year. He set the school record, which was held for 25 years by Kirk Ernie in the 1600. He set the school record that was held for 13 years by Tommy Morley in the 800. He set the school record, which was held for 27 years in the 3200. That was held by Jason Fiscus. His PR of 411 in the 1600, 152 in the 800, and 858 in the 3200. He led his team to the he led his teams to the track championship, to 1 track championship and 2 cross-country state titles. 7 South Jersey individual titles, including the 800, the 1600, the 3200, and the 5K. 5 state titles in the 16 and the 32. 3 Meet of Champions titles. 2 state titles in the 4x800. 2nd place in the 2014 Northeast Regional Foot Locker race. 34th in the 2014 National Foot Locker Championship. 2 years captain of cross country and track at the University of Vermont. In the 1500, he ran a 3:46, which converts to a 4:04 mile time. He has a PR in the 800 at 1:52 and a PR in the 5K at 14:36. Luke, in all he ever did, has exemplified the Haddon Township athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Patel.
Thank you everyone for being here. This town is very special to me. I've learned so much. I've been coached by Hoover, I've been coached by Donahue, Coach Bonder of the soccer team. I've been so grateful to be an athlete under all of them. I did wrestle actually in elementary school. I wanted to give a shout out to the wrestlers. It's one of the most challenging sports in every way. Conditioning, technical finesse, pure guts. That 3rd period is really hard. The only parallel I can make is the last 100 meters of a race, honestly. There's no way to describe that feeling. But I wanted to start with a quote that I used in this same spot almost 10 years ago at the South Jersey Cross Country Banquet. It's by an author, John L. Parker, called Once a Runner. Running to him was real, the way he did it, the realest thing he knew. It was all joy and woe, hard as a diamond. It made him weary beyond comprehension, but it also made him free. At the end of the race, your body and mind are begging you to stop, but you've trained both to bargain with each other, to just take one more step, one more deep breath, don't look back, run through the line, the crowd is roaring, but you can't make out the words that are said. You're just looking at the clock, and suddenly you finish, leaning over a metal fence, competitors stumbling over to each other to wish congratulations, barely able to speak, but words mean nothing at this point. Another quote, and that last part was for me, but here's another quote. No one promised you there would be universal justice. My interpretation of this is, no matter how hard you work, no matter how many miles you put in, how many hours on a mat, at the basketball court, whatever it is, the weight room, this lesson is, you're not promised to win at all. This is the lesson all serious athletes learn early on. To fail is to be a part of the process as equally as winning is. Though winning is the goal, it is only a part of the picture. The process is everything. Learning your limits, defying them, and trusting your innermost knowingness above any external influences is the key to find purpose in all of this, win or lose. Thank you so much to my teammates, who I not only got the pleasure to train with, but also learn life lessons with. To experience boyhood purely, to witness heartbreak, to get a taste of what life may be like beyond the safety of our youth. Running taught us that as long as you lace up your shoes, rain or shine, that life simply goes on. I have some teammates here with me today, and us today. Owen, Luke Kessler, Jake, and Joey, thank you for being catalysts to our team's greatness, setting the bar so high and taking training seriously. You all taught me the value of training honestly and to never cut corners, and to instead always take the long, challenging way. Dave Welsh, thank you for pushing our team and training with us, getting us into competitive opportunities we wouldn't have had without you. And for employing me in the summers at your running store. Thank you, Dave. Donahue, Coach Donahue, Dave Donahue, incredible man, huge influence on the running community in Haddon Township, has taught me so many lessons about myself and the world around me. Thank you for making this fun. Thank you for everything, and always drop the hammer. Little inside quote, but Mr. Stelz sitting right here, everyone knows Mr. Stelz. I didn't even have Mr. Stelz as a teacher, but you feel like a great friend of mine for lifetimes to come. Thank you for being such a great member of this community and for giving children the wisdom to be themselves and to look beyond times or records or whatever it may be. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you to my parents, mom and dad. You guys did a lot for me. Thank you, Annie and Liz, my sisters, and for just witnessing me be a young man. Sorry. Just a few more thank yous. I'm getting done soon. Thank you to my friends, Mac and Matt. Childhood friends. I'm still best friends with them to this day. They provided me with a unique lens on life outside of athletics. They were performing arts stars. So we have this. There's performing arts members at Haddon Township, and even academic members. This community is insanely talented in every way. That's what makes it so special. So thank you to my friends for just being a buffer between my times and at running. Thank you. Again, thank you, Haddon Township, for providing our team the freedom and the safety to train in this community. Running involves traveling to far places. That's how we train. We go to Haddon Field. Thank you, Haddon Field, for your hills. Thank you, Cooper River and all these places. We live in a great area. If you grew up in the area, live in the area, it's awesome. I'm really happy to be living back there again with my partner, Vanessa. Thank you, Vanessa, for also witnessing me become an adult. And that's all I have to say, so thank you so much.
Our final inductee this year goes to Coach Charlie Sendog Senator. Charlie coached the women's track and field team for 11 years. During his tenure as head coach, the Lady Hawks captured 2 conference divisional titles in 2010 and in 2013. He led the team to 75 dual meet victories, 3 major relay championships, and guided his athletes to 15 school records. Sendog joined Haddon Township in 2002 and coached for 3 years, then left, but returned for 8 additional years. While Charlie was at the helm, the girls set meet records in 4x1 hurdles, the 3x400 hurdles, the triple jump relay, the pole vault relay, the high jump relay, and the 4x16. Known for his steadfast yet patient coaching, Charlie built his team by encouraging and allowing individuals to answer the potential they held and also the potential that he saw in them. Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie Senator.
Hello everybody. We got Sendog on the mic, so I'll try to be fair. What's that JM score right now? I'm not sure.
She said she doesn't want to watch it anymore.
Man, I want to thank the committee as well as everybody else and congratulate all the inductees. I know everybody up here probably remembers their call when they got that call back in November. I want to thank Eric Landgraf. I know he's here somewhere, and him and I on that phone call. My son Ray, who chose his senior trip in Florida over being here today. But he was on the soccer team at West Deptford, and they're playing Delran. And it's a state championship game. It goes double overtime, nobody scores. They go to penalty kicks, and it's intense. And all of a sudden, that call came in. And I'm like going with Eric, and I'm like, what? What did you say? Wait, what's it? You know, it was intense. That's what I'll never forget that call from Eric. So I want to thank Sue. Incredible help that she gave me as my mentor. Couldn't have had a better mentor. I want to thank my sisters for being here today. always supporting me, all right? My wife, I want to thank her. When I started, 2002, we had one daughter, 3 years old. Then, oh boy, and then, 2003, CJ's born. 2005, Ray is born. 2007, right in the middle of my track tender, we had 3 boys and 1 little girl. So I would come home after long Saturday meets, and oh man, it was like diapers, and it was everything. So thank Laura for being a great mother and a great wife. All right. Also, you always want to thank, we had some excellent assistant coaches. All right, Jim Bonder, Katie Tharp Schaefer, the only one that came back to coach with me. She was a runner, jumper, everything for me, and then she's the one that came back and coached. We had Joni Evers. I want to thank Dave Donahue and Bill Hoover. Without them, we all worked together. When we were out there were times Dave and I would stagger practices because we had so many boys, girls that did other things. There were times that we all worked together and got all the workouts in. Without Bill, I know he's up here with the wrestling all day long, but he is one of the best pole vault coaches in South Jersey. All right, and without him, when they added that pole vault in 2005, I was like, oh, what are we going to do? All right, but thanks, Hugh, for doing that, taking care of that part of things. You know? Speaking of coaches, a few weeks ago, I'm looking online. I'm going to Haddon Township website. I was trying to find when Catherine went into the Hall of Fame. I'll get to you in a minute. All right, which was 2013, and I'm starting to see some of the coaches that are on that list, and it really does humble you. Jones on that list. Russ, where's Russ? He left. Russ is on that list. Pete Williams, who was mentioned, on that list. Tom Curley. Miller Preston is on that list. So I really do feel humbled to go in with those kind of people. I mean, it's a fraternity that I never saw coming. I student taught here in 1989, and I would see Tom Curley and Miller Preston. You would just be starstruck with these guys. So I feel humbled to be going in the same fraternity as those guys. I'd like to briefly talk about the culture at Haddon Township, led by Mr. O'Brien over there. When I got the job in 2002, I started walking around, and my old friends are going to laugh at this one, but I started walking around like the head coach should. You're checking grades, and you're checking discipline, and all that stuff. And I'd go around to the girls at practice, and I'm like, what's your GPA? And they tell me like 4.5, 5.0. I'm thinking, I didn't know you could get that high. So the culture was that I didn't have to worry about grades. I didn't have to worry about this. I mean, I'd have to go through high school twice and add my GPA together to be as smart as you. So yeah, that's a tribute to the culture at Haddon Township. I think I had 11 years of coaching, I had one discipline problem, and there was one time where one of the girls came to me in the beginning of the year, and she said, I have to get my grades up before I can come out. So as soon as your grades are up, you can come out. And that was it. One grade problem, one discipline problem in 11 years. So that does say something about the community and the culture at Haddon Township. Now, the real reason I'm here. We're the young ladies on the team. Back in 2002, I interviewed with Al Carr, and he came with some of the standard questions about track and all that stuff. And then I started hearing these things about this girl who was just a freshman at the time. Now she's a sophomore. What are you going to do about this amazing Catherine Geisler, who's sitting right here? And second interview, same thing. I started hearing, but you have this girl, this great, amazing Catherine Geisler. How are you going to coach this girl? Yeah. So, I made something up. I convinced Al that I had that. But anyway, then Catherine, who was an incredible swimmer, she misses the first couple practices because she's still swimming. So about the third practice, I kept hearing from the girls the 2 days she wasn't there, Catherine's amazing. We got this amazing girl. So I'm thinking, I got FloJo. I'm thinking, this is pretty cool. I got the female Usain Bolt coming. And then the third practice comes, and here's Catherine. And she's nuts. We have the warm-up lines, and she doesn't want to come up front. She's only a sophomore at this time. And then all of a sudden, the girls kind of push her up to the front line and emerges. And I'm thinking, I'm looking past her. I'm like, where's FloJo? That's not FloJo, that's Barbie. But anyway, then I will say something about Catherine. We started practice, and you really started to see the talent. When she started going over the hurdles, and she's the starter of all the hurdle culture that we started. We realized early on that's one way you can win meets. You can win meets by scoring points in the hurdles that other teams won't get, by scoring points in the pole vault that other teams won't get. So we did that. And then she came, I asked Gary to send me the record board for girls track. To this day, she has, for 22 years now, since 2002, both hurdle records. 14.9 in the 100 hurdles, 104.9. They both stand today. All right, she was an incredible runner. Haddon Township, when I got there, one of the strengths we always had these real good competitive distance runners. We had the O'Mara sisters. We had Alicia Pipkin, who I know comes back and coaches here now. And then all of a sudden, we had this freshman come in, which was my last year, 2014. Her name was Annika, and I think she might be sitting right over there. She came in her freshman year. We had some really good distance runners, like I just mentioned. She came in and started breaking their records like it was her job. You know? So Annika, congrats for all that. I really appreciate it. We also had good throwers at times. Ryan Burke, Lauren McCutcheon. We had pole vaulters, again, thanks to Hoove. Patty Angelotti, I know we have one that tied her record. We had jumpers like Patrice Marrow. Kelly Roach was here today. Kayla Comer. We had sprinters, Olivia Duca, Victoria Duva, and yes, I had them both at the same time, and it was confusing, at Duca and Duva, and they were both very good. But then, after Catherine, and she set those records and helped establish like our hurdle culture, which I called it, everybody wanted to be a hurdler. It was always like they were scared at first, and people used to ask me, what do you do to get all these hurdlers at Haddon Township? And it was like, I just refused to take no for an answer. I would tell them, you're a hurdler first, you're a sprinter second. And that's how we developed into it, and then it became a culture where the girls wanted to be on the shuttle hurdle team, and they wanted to be on the 3x400 team. And then we had Sarah Springer and Laura Dockney that came in and held that for a while. And then all of a sudden, it was in 2012, when we had Kelly Roach, and we had Patrice Marrow, we had Olivia Duca and Kayla Comer, we had Courtney Krieger, Erin Butricka, and we came to those relays, and I know it's in my bio. We set a ton of records that year with that group of hurdlers. We came to the George Rowland relays. We had finished second 3 years in a row to Shelley, and we wanted to win that. That was our home meet. And we just crushed records that day. I can remember Roach, Kelly and Catherine right here are the only two that mastered both the 100 hurdles and the 400 hurdles. That's not an easy thing to do, sitting right here. All right? But the team of Marrow, Roach, Comer, and Duca, they crushed the school record that day in the shuttle hurdles at 106.9. We also set a record at the West Effort relays, the Cam Glow relays in the same year. Same meet, the George Rowland relays. I remember talking to Kelly before practice. I said, Kelly, if you can go about 107, 108, and we can get Erin Butricka and Courtney Krieger to run what we know they can do, we can break that record. So all of a sudden that race starts, and I just see Kelly take off. And I'm thinking she's going to fall. I'm like, oh my God, but she was flying around those hurdles. The old record at the time for the 3x400 records was 338.9. They beat that by 5 seconds, which is a big deal. They ran a 333.4. All right, crushed the record that day. And best part of it was we finally beat Shelley that day and won our 3. So, what I like, Patrice Marrow, such incredible explosive powers. We had her, she still has tied, I think, for one of the records, 17 feet, 3 inches in the long jump. We did set a ton of records. I'm very proud that we won the first 2 conference championships in school history. I was very fortunate to coach girls that were very dedicated and warriors. I can remember both these 2 here, Kelly and Catherine, coming out. Catherine's running the hurdles down at Rowan at the night track meet. She's flying over them and she fell. She had to go to the prom with a big raspberry on her shoulder. And then Kelly, freshman year, Gateway, you know what I'm talking about. She comes out in the 400 hurdles. She falls over the first hurdle. Her knees got skin hanging off it and all that stuff. We start running over here to she gets up, takes off like a bat out of hell. catches the gateway girl to finish. It was awesome to see. So we did have some warriors on that team that were really good. In closing, all right, I'd like to thank two people that are sitting at this table. All right, my parents. My dad, and Gary can contribute to this, he installed work ethic in you. You never did anything halfway. So when he came to coaching, I didn't do anything halfway. He installed that in you in early years. All right, so thank you, Dad. My mom, all right? My mom comes to track meets to this day to watch my son ride. And I'll tell you this, they didn't have girls track back in 1960. I know I'm aging you, Mom, but, you know, back in 1960, she wishes she ran girls track. She said, I wish they had that. Because when Ray's pole vaulting and the girls 400 runs around the track, she tells me every time, I would beat those girls' ass. Thank you all, thank you.
At this time, we once again call upon Reverend Thatcher for the benediction.
Until you stand up in front of a community and say thank you to those who've impacted your life, you cannot even imagine how hard it is to say the word thank you. It's hard because there's so much there. And I just want to say that it is my hope, it is my prayer in sending that we carry the spirit that is here today. And particularly at this sort of unique event, I was just so moved so many times by just honoring those who are no longer with us. And Pops, who came up for his award for his son, just sort of broke me. And I just want to thank you for being a part of the community and for giving us the courage to continue to move forward with the spirit of thank you. Thank you for the committee. Thank the Lord. And thank you each. God bless.
At this time, Sophia Marone will lead us in God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, through the mountains, through the prairies, through the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Sophia Marone. Okay, we'd like to thank you all for coming today. This concludes our program for 2024. We appreciate your attendance and we appreciate your support. Thank you and good night.